Hello, YouTubers, and welcome to the show. I have a very special guest with me today. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Squire Kirshner. I'm HomerJ on the Versus Realms forums, and I'm happy to be on your show.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
You bet.
So, I would like to start things off with a couple of questions.
Yeah, shoot, I'm all yours.
All right. Question number one. How did you end up making a podcast with Cliff?
Oh, well, actually, that's a fun story, actually.
All right.
There was two gentlemen, I should say gentlemen, two guys doing a podcast already on Versus Realms, Paul Lang and Richard Vaughn.
Mm-hmm.
They had their own website and their own forums, and they kind of graduated to the Versus Realms with their show called the Fallout Shelter. And as a Versus fan, obviously, I spent a lot of time harassing them, asking them questions, bouncing ideas off of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I do know that Cliff as well was doing similar things. And when Paul and Rich decided that they wanted to move on to a podcast that was much more gaming related, as far as all games versus, that's a little silly. They started looking for some replacements, and so I got a PM that basically said you have been chosen, or the ring has chosen.
That was it. That was
the subject line, and then inside they basically explained that they wanted to move on, and they thought that, and Cliff and I both got very similar emails, but basically said they thought that I had a lot of passion for the game and a lot of good ideas, and probably would be a good kind of match for this venue, and so they had me on to do part of a set review. Kind of got my feet wet in the whole podcast thing. Then Cliff did one the following week, and then Cliff and I met the week after that for our first podcast. We had a couple conversations, but we'd never met. Cliff and I did a good 40 episodes before we even met in person. A lot of people don't realize that. He's in New York and I'm in Wisconsin. And so we just kind of hit it off. Anybody's listened to our show, and I hope there's a lot of out of your viewers that listen to our show.
I hope so too.
Yeah, we have a really good time, and we just kind of hit it off chemistry wise, and it took a good 10 episodes or so to kind of get the training wheels off and figure out how to interact on the there's that radio mentality of interacting, knowing how to kind of go back and forth and stuff. And so yeah, we just kind of started rolling from there, and we've been good friends ever since, and the show's been pretty popular, and every new week comes along with some new challenges, and we just have a really good time doing it.
Well, that's very good.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that the whole ring is chosen thing came from an email that you two received.
Well, that's one of the best parts of the story, is that when they asked us, and like I said, with the email being the ring has chosen, and then we kind of went, it's a card in Versus, obviously, and so that was Paul's way of kind of being humorous. But when they asked us what we wanted the show to be called, Cliff and I both agreed, the most exciting part of us being given the show was that first message, and we thought, what better way to name the show than that? And it's stuck. It's been great.
Well, that is most definitely excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to question number 2. What advice would you give to a new Versus player?
Oh boy, we could do a whole show on that. There's a couple things that I try to get every new player of any game actually to do. I've been gaming seriously since 4th grade, which is just over 26 years of gaming. Everything from role playing to video games to what have you. I've been in CCGs for well over 16, including Magic, and a couple things I think every new player has to deal with are really the stepping stones. The first one is, you're not going to be able to compete, and what I mean by that is until you really get a good understanding of the game and its rules and everything else, you should go into it having fun. So for a Versus player, you should find the character or the team that you like the most, or the mechanic and just build a stock, thematic, stuff I like deck and learn how to play it and learn how to play it well. Even if you get beat by every Tier 1 deck in the game, every loss is as good as a win as far as experience goes.
Yep.
Just start playing the game, you know? The second thing I recommend is, as tedious and as lame and as boring as it is, you go find the official rules document on the Versus site and you read the tedious legalese that is the rule. It'll make you a better player if you understand as much of the game as possible outside of the little book that comes in the set.
Because the book, it really does not give you... It only gives you a certain amount.
Yeah, there's
a lot of research that is needed.
Yeah, it's like giving someone 2 sticks and a match and say light a fire.
Yep.
You know, like, who knows what's going to happen? You could burn down the whole building. You might not even get the fire lit. Who knows? So that's my second recommendation, and then I think the third recommendation is to just play, and you should play every format you can get your hands into. You should play with every card you can get your hands on. You should, play against as many different people as you can, because every good player can teach you something. Every bad player can teach you something. And then if you're going to go competitive, the last thing I can recommend is, if you play in a competitive event, be prepared before you get there in all ways, shapes, and forms. And as you play, it's kind of hard to explain until you're actually playing a competitive game, but you should always bring a notebook to the event to keep track of life and notes and things like that. Never do it with dice, never do it with little counters and calculators or whatever, because it's just the wrong thing to do. But what you do is you get yourself a little 6x9 notebook, you open it up. On the left side page, you do your scorekeeping. On the right side, you keep track of every misplay. Write it down. Your opponent will wait. They have to. But because when the event's all done, you need to be able to go back and not kid yourself about the mistakes you made. Read them and go, you know what? I built a bad formation. I didn't make good reinforcement choices. I missed an attack. All those things are going to be part of developing your play, and that's I would say that's where I start. And then the biggest, I think, outside of that, if you just want to be a good player, go to a forum, ask them questions. 99% of the people on every forum, including Versus Realms, especially Versus Realms, they're all good guys, and they're all happy to help you with whatever. Just go in with an open mind and have a good time.
All right. We're almost reaching the 8-minute mark, so I'm going to stop it. I'm going to stop it right here.
Okay.
And what I'll do is I'll break it into 2 parts.
Oh, all right.
Or as many parts as are needed. I can upload as many videos as necessary.
15 of them, it'll be part 15.
Oh yeah, it'll be perfect.
Yeah.